Rev up your engines. Would you believe me if you could get a beautiful Lexus like this for 7,500 bucks? Well, this guy did. Mind you, it was used, but I really knew how to make these things. Just like my wife's Lexus. Look, it's still beautiful looking, even though it's an 06. It was made by Canadians, just like my wife's. The leather's still in decent shape. All kinds of room, and a serious mid-person armrest if you want. You put it up if you want for a seat. Now, it doesn't burn any oil. And as we can see under the hood, a reliable Toyota 3.5 liter engine. These things can run forever. 174,000 miles, of course. The engine's original, transmission's original. They made these things. And as far as I'm concerned, you can't beat these V6 engines. I do not like the modern 4-cylinder turbos in these. You'll find, if you get one of those, when it gets to be 160,000 miles, you'll probably be burning oil, probably making a bunch of noise. These things were made to last. I don't know why they got carried away putting all this plastic crap on it, but I guess if you want a Lexus, you don't open the hood, is their theory. It's a luxury car, right? But you can see everything on it pretty much is original except for the battery. The AC still works. Everything else works. Now, I did have a minor power steering leak, but he tried some of that AT205 reseal that I talk about, and the leak stopped, so voila. Now, he is hearing some noise, especially in the back, so we're going to take it for a road test, listen, and then we'll jack it up and check stuff. New scan tool to try out. Hook it up, see what shape it's in. Kind of interesting because it's got the scanner with a magnet so you don't lose it. If you're curious, it's a ThinkScan 689 BT. Turn the key on, power up scan tool, we'll do the VIN, full graphics. Gotta say, I like the graphics. 2007 6-cylinder RX350, okay? Do a health report, see if anything's wrong. It's checking quite a few systems. Scan tool seems to be working pretty good so far. Lots of systems it's going through. Got no trouble codes, that's good. So we will start her up. And we'll look at live data. We'll select all. And here we go. Remember, black's good, red's bad. Refreshes reasonably fast. Pretty close to perfect. Lamb, though, 1.00 is perfect. Sometimes it even touches that. It's only off a tiny few thousandths at most. And it's kind of amazing, considering the mileage on the car. You can see, typical Lexus, 0 misfires. Fuel trim, 0.78. So that's less than 1%. So that's pretty good for an old car. Do the rest of the data just to look at the colors, see if anything is going to be off. Because as you can see, there's all kinds of data to mess around with. It's all still good. Fills in. Variable valve timing system's all fine. I love this part of the scan tool. That's the wrong way. That's the right way. There. Then you don't lose it. Now, stupid tire pressure monitoring system is on because one of the sensors or more are going out. You get this kind of age and mileage. Who wants to spend all that money replacing those expensive sensors? No car, but it's got a backup camera. Nothing up to new ones. It's pixelation isn't all that great. It's kind of dull, but hey, at least it's there. Super smooth idle. Power steering works fine. Now we'll listen to the noises. He's worried about wheel bearings. I can hear a little starting in the back as we swerve. That doesn't make any difference, so the front ones seem fine. If the front ones are going, when you swerve to one side or the other, the noise will either get quieter or louder. And it's not doing that. A little wear in the back. Nothing outrageous, but we're going to jack it up and check it. Still has plenty of power, zooming around. Smooth. That's why I like these V6s. Smooth power. I don't like the 4s in these at all. You can barely feel it shift gears. It's still smooth as can be, even though it's got 174,000 miles on it. So we'll jack up the back and check out. I don't think it's going to have any play you can feel, but I might hear it with my stethoscope. Now first you're going to spin them, see if anything feels weird. They don't make any noise yet because the weight of the car's not on them. And of course they have no play at all. So we'll look at the other side first. We'll do the same thing. And there's no play or anything. So, got my little noise detector here. He's going to spin the wheel and I'm going to listen inside. Okay, start spinning. And the only thing I hear is the brake pad drags every once in a while. Here, I'll put the headphones on the mic and you'll see. That's just the brake pad grabbing. So now we'll check the other side, on the driver's side. Start spinning it. Same exact thing. As it spins, the only thing I hear is every once in a while the brake pad hits the rotor and makes a little noise. There's no bearing noise yet. Now in this case, I wouldn't advise doing anything because it has no play. It only makes that little noise when you're driving when the load is on it. The tires aren't worn strange. There's no play here. There's no noise when the weight of the car isn't on it. I predict that these wheel bearings, before they actually start to have play and make noise when you're spinning them, that'll probably go another 30 to 50,000 miles or more before they need changing. If you're a fanatic, you can buy the hubs and the bearings if you want, but really, there's no need for it yet. So really, what does this car need? Not much anything except gas. Change the oil every 5,000 miles. It's still in excellent shape. Now, if you're a fanatic, you can change the rear wheel bearings. I wouldn't bother. They're nowhere near being worn out to the point that the tire's worn. There's no play. There's no noise. Now, if I would have jacked it up and spun it and hear noise with my ears, then I'd say, yeah, it's time to change. You don't want the bearings locking up and then you'll have problems on the road. But this isn't even near that state. The problem with this car is it's so good and so quiet that you hear the noise. If it was a Ford or a Chevy, it would just be normal road noise. You wouldn't think twice about the thing. So he's getting a lot more than $7,500 worth for this. This is why you can buy these things used. They're semi-luxury cars, but unlike many luxury cars, these are actually well built, especially the ones with the 6-cylinder engines. It's a shame they're getting rid of them, but hey, what can you do? Most corporations are dead from the neck up, so they make bad decisions all the time. When they built these, no. Canadians did a great job building them, just like my wife's Matrix. That was made in Canada too. They do a great job building them. Hey, why they don't keep making them that way? Toyota's just making so they have less and less engines and transmissions for production to be simplified is what it basically comes down to. So the Turbo 4s have all this horsepower, but it's a different kind of horsepower. They're noisier. They're not smooth. They don't have the instant torque that a V6 has. These are much better if you own a luxury car. And here's some bonus questions and answers. Diana Carbuff says, are there any high mileage Teslas or is this just a lie? Yesterday, a taxi cab driver in Prague picked me up in a Tesla Model S. It was a 2014 and he said it was on its original battery. The car's got 420,000 kilometers. So what's that? 420,000 kilometers. I don't know, 240, 250,000 miles, something like that. How is this possible, she said. All I hear is hate. Is this possible? Okay, well, it is possible. The Model S is their most expensive one. I can imagine what the guy paid for that thing in Czechoslovakia. Things are expensive there anyways. And over here, those S's were going for 120,000 bucks or more. So you pay an awful lot of money, right? He put his top quality motors and his top quality batteries in the Model S. The cheaper one, a Model 3 or something, I'd really kind of wonder, right? I wouldn't believe the guy. But that is their top of the line. But that's a very expensive vehicle, right? The average person is going to be buying a $120,000, $140,000 car. Let's face the facts. $25,000, $30,000 cars. And Tesla said he was going to build a $25,000. Now it looks like they're not going to. You know, all this la, la, la. Just like he said, he was going to sell his Tesla Cybertrucks. The starting price was supposed to be $39,900, right? I've seen people paying $100,000 for those things now that they're actually out. I think they're all fools, but that just shows the lies that come out of that guy's mouth. Now, the Model S was his top of the line. Yeah, I could see one going that far. But when you consider what it costs, it's not a deal. Now, if he was making cars that cost $25,000, $35,000 and they were going that far still in the original battery, I'd say, hey, okay, kudos to him. But I don't see that. That's the most expensive one that he makes. And even at that, there were companies in Europe that were using electric vehicles. They bought a bunch of Teslas and they gave up on them all. They said they break too much, they're too hard to fix. The Tesla guys keep them for months trying to fix them. We run a business using these vehicles and they still use electric cars in these companies, but they're not buying any Teslas. They said, we're not going to buy any more of these Teslas. There's too much hassle. Like I said, I don't know what he paid for it in Czechoslovakia, but I'm sure he paid a ton of money for it, and whether he's making money on it, maybe, maybe not. You never want to take one car as an example to follow it out, because there's too many people. Look at Hertz. Hertz bought 100,000 Teslas. They're getting rid of them all. They said they weren't economically viable to rent out to people. Skyweb says, what's a modern car? Scotty, I often hear you talk about Modern cars. Can you be more specific what a modern car is? I watched a video said most higher octane fuels aren't needed in modern cars because of the way they're set up. But my 90s Honda, is it modern because it's fuel injected? What's a modern car? Well, of course, modern's a relative term. But your 90s Honda was fuel injected. They were one of the early ones. Interesting enough, Honda's smart. They tested the fuel injected cars in England, which is just a small market, and they got it all proofed and worked fine. So when it came to the US years later, they didn't have any problems. Very smart company, right? But that's basic fuel injection. And if you had a high compression Honda engine, you'd still have to use premium gas. But modern cars, especially the last 10 years, they are so more computerized, and especially with the advent of GDI fuel injection, gasoline direct fuel injection, those fuel injectors that use piezoelectric cells are extremely accurate. They can meter the fuel in such a way that you can run any engine on any fuel you want. A Ford Mustang with a 4-cylinder turbocharged engine, right? You can get like 345 horsepower with premium gas. But then you get like 295 if you use regular gas. You'll lose a little bit of power, but it will still run perfectly fine. So most of what you want to call really modern cars, they'd have GDI injection, and everything is so computer controlled that the computer can set up for anything. Like even further back, when they started selling flex fuel cars in the United States, where they can run on any kind of fuel from E85, that's 85% ethanol, to our regular gasoline, which is only 10% ethanol, it has sensors and it can make decisions to make it run on anything. You could have 10% alcohol, 15, 20, 25, 30, 30, all the way up to 85%, right? Because the computers control all that stuff. And that's what I mean by modern cars. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.